Yeah, I failed my 11 plus, but it didn't go against me in any way because, I seemed to, when I went to the council school, they were a very good school. And believe me, there's none about them now. There's no schools about them right now. The masters, although they were very strict, we respected them. We respected the masters and the headmaster. He even interviewed my mother and father to see how I was getting on and everything at the school. Oh, we had everything there. Sport, swimming, everything, athletics, And then I left there in 1938. And I was automatically sent a letter from Hawker Aircraft to say that I was assigned there and would I report there? And that's where I went. And all I started doing was fetching and carrying. That's all I knew about aircraft. And then as time went on, I used to sit in all the Hawker Hurricanes that they fought the Battle of Britain with. Actually sit in them, Yeah. And a Scottish engineer called Jock Gold, he was a very, very clever engineer. He sat me down one afternoon and he said, now, Frank, he said, I'm very pleased to have this interview with you. He said, I've just come to see what you know. Half an hour, he said, well, Frank, he said, you don't know a lot, but we're going to teach you. And they did. Oh, yes, they did. Yeah, Hawker's in Kingston was a very antiquated factory. And even the stairs, when you went down, I was doing this. It was so antiquated. Anyway, they started to update it, and they put all modern machinery in the base of this aircraft factory, and gradually built it all up. And they had a day and night shift there. Yeah, day and night shift. Oh yes, of course. Two friends of mine that worked at Teddington in a builder's, friend of ours, they went to Hawker's. What do you think they went there for?
Hurricanes?
Yeah, to build the Hurricane fuselage on a jig. You understand what I mean? Build all the airframe. Well, the first Hurricanes they built were wood, fuselage was wood, and the fuselage was covered in canvas and dope. That was smelt terribly. The men that used that, they were had to drink milk all day long, and it tightened up all the wings. Then of course they improved on it, and they started putting stress skin on the Hurricanes. Then, yeah. My old friend, the Scottish man, Jock Gold, he was the chief inspector of flight at Dunsfold, and he was the one that said the plane was all right or it wasn't. Yeah, he's a very nice man. He was. Yeah. So we had. See what they did? They put all these small aircraft units all over the country, so they weren't, open to all the bombing, And the fact the coaches used to come every day to Kingston and take the men to wherever they wanted to go, the factories, you see. Yeah. There was all that, because there was a lot of Labour people in the government during the war, Labour, and it was a mixture, and there was a man, Minister of Food. His name was Mr. Walton. He commanded all the food in the country, and then there was Who else was there? Minister of Aircraft Production. What was his name?
Is that Beaverbrook?
You're right. Correct. Beaverbrook. Correct. Yeah, you're correct. Beaverbrook. And of course, he was a very wealthy man. And he, now what was he? He owned newspapers, didn't he? Beaverbrook? I think he did.
I'm not sure. So.
Yeah. Oh, he was quite an eminent man, you know. And you see, my sister lives at Seaford, and her neighbour was Sir John Anderson. Are you familiar with the word Anderson?
Oh, Anderson Shelter.
Correct. Yeah, Anderson Shelter. We had one in our backyard. I never went in it. We were sitting in our lounge one night, and these bombs came down, and my mother had two scientists that visited on my mother. My mother used to look after them, and you know, while they were at the MPL, and these two bombs came down. I don't know how my house sustained it, but like that, you know. But it's got a good foundation, my house. Yeah, but yeah, of course the thinking about the German side of it, you know, because they were. The trouble was that the Nazi Party were very nasty people. Well, like Japanese, really. I mean, they were the same. But yeah. But Hermann Göring, he was the commander of the Luftwaffe. But you know, I'm just trying to think what else happened at Kingston. You know, I used to go there every day on my bike. You know, to the factory. But I don't know what other activities are. Well, you know, we used to have light activities. We used to go. We had a Hawkers had a club at Ham, which you know you go there and for a little relaxation, you know. But yeah, I can still see a lot of the. I mean, we had all the craftsmen there at Kingston. Tin bashers, you know. They used to mould all the, you know, the front of the aircraft and that. And there was what were the other men? Oh, coppersmiths. They made the undercarriage for the
fighters.
Pardon?
The undercarriage for the fighters, was it?
Yeah, but what was the name of it? Very famous man who invented that. The only word that comes to mind with me is pneumatic, but it was a marvellous invention, that. Of course, it went on later on in the years where you're seeing all these big planes landing with 400 on board. Same thing, you know. But yeah, I was just thinking about the coppersmiths. Hydraulic. That's the name. That's the word. Hydraulic. And yeah, they of course, what enabled the Spitfires and Hurricanes, they set up a plan where all the girls that were in the lookouts, you know, they knew the radar, they knew they were coming, and they used to put the word out, and before they even arrived to bomb the airfields, they'd taken off. And then when the airfields were built, bombed, as soon as they'd gone, to fill them in again, so they could land. It landed on grass, you know, the two fighters, Spitfire and the Hurricane. Yeah, Merlin engine, very clever. Oh, clever. Yeah, that was in the Merlin engine was in the big bomber. What was the big bomber now?
The Lancaster.
Correct. Yeah. That was a Lancaster. My friend flew one of those. Yeah. He trained in Canada, in Calgary, and he married a Canadian girl, and my wife and I were invited out to stay with them after the war. Yeah, in Canada. Yeah. Because we got bombed at Teddington. The Royal Air Force were chasing these bombers, and they were coming back over our town because they were fully loaded with bombs, and they dropped 2 bombs right near my house. Yeah, yeah. They were definitely being chased, you know. And then they went all the way along the river to Kingston, and our factory only got 1 hit. 1 hit. Yeah. 1 hit they got. But yeah. I mean, have you heard of what is it now? Sidney Cam and the Hurricane?
I think so, I'm not sure.
He designed the Hurricane. Yeah, and he designed several other planes. Yeah. Because the other man that designed the Spitfire was Mitchell. Yeah. Yeah, I tell you, they were wonderful planes. And the pilots, but alas, a lot of our pilots got killed. You know, they did a good job in breaking up the German advance, but you know, they had to pay for it. Barnes Wallis said when it came through that they'd penetrated the dams, "I am so delighted," and he broke down and he said, 50 young men's lives have been cost in doing that, what I've done. You know, he was so cut up about it, you know. He'd lost all the men. Yeah.
How would you describe the working conditions inside the factory?
Pretty poor in 38 and a bit precarious. Those stairs that we used to have you see, what happened was we were getting the men on the roof, you know, what do you call outlook in the situation, you know. As soon as they got the signal that the bombers were coming, they used to sit, if there's a signal, and we all used to have to evacuate downstairs into fallout shelters, you see. But they were only brick shelters. If we'd got a direct hit, we wouldn't have survived. But then, of course, it was all modernised, you know. Yeah, yeah. As the war went on, yeah, there was a lot of good engineers there. Mr. Viney, he was the chief of the machine shop. The department I was in, inspection, was run by Mr. Jefferson. He was the chief inspector. He lived in Teddington. Yeah. But yeah. Any other things you could think of?
What was your everyday routine at the factory?
Factory. Well, when I first went there, I was fetching and carrying as the boy. I had a senior man with me. He used to give me a ticket of pipe, and he used to say, "Now, Frank, I want you to go and get this." But the point was that all the spare parts and jigs and everything else were very, very scarce. So if I got the order that I'd got to get a jig, it'd probably be in the hands of a welder. So I used to go and see the welder, and he said, "Well, come back in half an hour and you could take it, you know." He'd done his job with it, and that's the job I got on. I used to have to go to the drawing office and get all the drawings, and that's where the camel and the, they were all in there, all those drawings. Yeah. But you see, and then I advanced. Very meagre job I had. We used to stamp all the parts, you know, and all the parts that went into the aircraft were called, they were put in annealment troughs, acid, to protect them against whatever they wanted to do, you know. But yeah, that was my general. And then because the chief inspector came up to my address, my bench, and he said, "How would you like to go into the inspection department, Frank?" So I said, "Very nice, sir." Well, he said, "Report there on Monday morning, and you can start there." And that's where I learned a lot of things, you know, technical drawing and everything. I learned there. Yeah, yeah. And because that was the end of me there, I wasn't considered value enough to stay there. So I had to join the army.